Hi chaps, SimOP here from Beard, Biceps and Batchat. Today we're going to do a review of the newly released as of 5 minutes ago Grille 15. This is a new tier 10 German TD. Now it's important to note this doesn't replace the waffle leading off the Waffenträger, it actually sits alongside it. It's very different from the waffle in that there's no autoloader on it. It's the biggest difference. It's also not based on an E100 chassis or hull. For me, when looking at the waffle and the Grille 15, the Grille 15 is a much more natural tier 10 leading from the Waffenträger in that it follows the same sort of characteristics and gameplay where it's more of a glass cannon, more of a sniper, rather than just auto-loading, deleting tank. So what I want to do first, just run over it fairly quickly, then what I'll do at the end is going to bring in Cowboy. He's doing a few games on his Grille at the moment, just to get his opinion on how it's been playing, does it play like I think it's going to play, and what's the best way to sort of run it and make the most of the tank's characteristics. So the first thing that people are going to be most interested in is the gun on this tank. So it's a 15cm pack. So the reload on it is 1650 seconds. It works out about 3.3 rounds per minute with an aim time of 1 minute 50 seconds. So the aim time is very good. We're also quite lucky that we have a max gun depression of about 8 degrees on this tank. So the way you want to play it, as much as you've probably been playing your Waffenträgers, just drive in reverse. That's your best bet. You'll get extra gun depression on it, and you're not having to deal with poking your entire front hull of the tank out to get shots in. You just have to poke the very last little bit. It'll keep you safer, so you're able to take advantage of that gun depression and keep as much as your hull safe as possible. Now, one of the other little things that's quite interesting is the average damage on this tank is actually 750 alpha. Now, that's quite interesting. And let me tell you why a little bit. So, most of the tier 10 TDs, their alpha is 850 damage, and the Grilles is only 750. Now, the reason it's 750 is this is a carbon copy of the PC Grille. Now, the tier 10 TDs on PC actually had all their alphas nerfed from 850 to 750. That's because people were moaning, they felt it balanced the game a little bit more. But the problem doing it that way is they'll actually end up, we have a nerf version of a Grille 15 while the rest of the tier 10 TDs haven't been nerfed. So I don't want to say it's lazy, but it is a little bit lazy doing it that way. They should have stuck it at 850, and then if it needed to be downgraded to 750 because it was too crazy, done it then. So that's I suppose my main gripe with this tank, it's that its alpha is an 850. As I said before, you're doing about 3.5 rounds per minute. It gives you an average DPM of about 2500. That's not too bad, but the tier 9 Waffenträger actually has better DPM than this tank. So the Waffenträger is getting off 6 rounds a minute at 500 damage. It's doing 3000 DPM. Well, one fairly good thing about this gun that I quite like, as well as the aim time, is the dispersion. This is the most accurate gun in the game. At let me just pull it up for you guys, at 0.27 dispersion. So there is nothing more accurate than this gun. I can imagine you'll have a lot of fun, maybe even snapshotting things as you're whizzing past. Which leads us on quite nicely to talk about, I suppose, the main differential between this, the Waffenträger, and the waffle, apart from the autoloader, is the speed on this tank. So this tank can comfortably reach 60 kilometers per hour. The power to weight ratio on this tank is insane at 21.34. The horsepower is great. It is very quick going in a straight line, but that doesn't mean this tank is very maneuverable. So don't expect to be running around like a French medium or a light tank. You're good in a straight line. That's pretty much it. So what you really want to be doing is taking advantage of that and shooting, relocating, or potentially playing a bit more aggressively and picking on tanks that are distracted, then pulling back, picking on another tank, and just waiting for your reload. So the hull armor on this tank is much like the Waffenträger. Basically, there is no armor on it. It's very much a glass cannon. Exactly the same as the Borsig, same as the Waffenträger. This is why I said I feel it's a sort of more natural tier 10 than the Waffle was leading on from the German, well, this German TD line. The other thing that sort of steps away from the TD line is the Concealment. This does not have good camo values. Obviously the Borsig is known for being amazing for staying invisible while shooting. The Waffenträger isn't bad at it if you get the right crew skills on it, but this tank, it's not going to hide. Now there's a couple of reasons for that. Firstly, the height of this tank, it's actually, with the turret, the same size as, I think it's the E100. The turret comes exactly to the top of the E100, so it is a big tank with its maximum height. So with not having great concealment as well, it's not going to be able to play a role where you can sit at the back, use camo to avoid being shot at, which is a bit of a pain, so you've got to utilise the speed a bit more. So just to run over the sort of pros, cons of this tank, you've got the most accurate gun in the game, you've got amazing aim time, you've got fairly good gun depression on it as well. The shell velocity on this tank is absolutely, hopefully it pulls it up here, is very, very good as well, at 1350 meters per second. Again, that's just going to aid your sniping ability. Speed's really good, you're great at going in a straight line. Some of the I suppose cons of this tank is the armor's pretty useless on it. The accuracy when you're moving isn't great, so you've got to be a little bit careful when you snapshot, and so get nice and close if you're going to play aggressively. The other problem with this tank is the AP on the, the penetration on the AP and the heat rounds aren't particularly insane compared to other tier 10 TDs, sorry. So it's a little undergunned, and it's not doing as much damage as other tier 10 TDs. And also, obviously, the camo isn't that great. So it's going to be a fairly interesting one for people to get to grips with and learn how to play. So ideally, the way you want to play this tank is you want to take advantage of the speed to relocate as much as possible when you're spotted, because you will get spotted, and to also use the amazing accuracy of this gun. It's got the best gun in the game. You're able to take quick shots with the velocity of the shells. It's just going to make you an even better sniper. So you don't want to even play it potentially as a second line support, maybe even a little bit further than that, but you don't want to be relying on the concealment and the camo of this tank, because you're going to get spotted pretty much every time you pull the trigger. So again, just be aware of the armor. If you're playing it aggressively, use the speed. I play my Waffenträger quite aggressively sometimes, and if you're doing that, just remember when you're doing peek-a-boom, just to reverse out rather than poke your front out. You should have quite a lot of success doing it that way. But I'll be very interested to see what you guys think of the Grille 15, how you guys are playing it, if you've got any tips and hints for the rest of us, and when I do finally get it later on today. So please let me know in the comment section below, chaps, and please like and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content, and I'll catch you next time, guys.